Hi everyone, welcome to this video. It will be about segments and how you can, let's say, extend the use of segments thanks to the API of Matomo. So the typical, let's say, things that I would like to show here is that when you are using, for example, Google Analytics, you can see that when you create a segment, you have the match regex possibility. And the issue that we have with Matomo, and I don't know why, is when you want to create a segment, at least in 3.8.0, you don't have the possibility to use the regex, right? You have the is not, contains, does not contain, starts with, and ends with. And the issue here is that if you have reports such as this one, which is very long with a lot of data, and that you would like to apply, for example, just the OR parameters, right? OR parameters in regex is when you use what we call the pipe, which is the key Alt GR on your computer and the number 6. I mean, for a French keyboard, it's okay. That's the pipe. It means that you are fetching either value, you would like to get value 1 or value 2, right? So that's how you use it. And as in Matomo, you cannot, let's say, use regex. What you have to do is you need to go up here, and when you create your segment, you need on each time to click here and say, okay, or and or and or. And as you can imagine, if you would like to filter this report and on each time you would like to mention actually a URL, it means that it's going to take you a lot of time in order to, let's say, create a segment which is composed of, like, say, 30 times different URL. Okay, so in this video, I will show you how you can make it faster. In order to do so, you need to use the reporting API of Matomo. So there is there are like two main APIs in Matomo: the tracking API and the reporting API. Of course, there are some other minor API, but those two are, let's say, the most used. Reporting API in the Matomo sense is not just about getting reports, it's as well how you can push data within Matomo. So here we have where it is the module that we would like to use, which is named the segment editor, and the feature, the function that we would like to use of this module is the segment editor add function. So what does this function do? As it stands for, it allows you to add a segment, and it expects to have as a parameter a name and a definition. So definition is the part that you can find here. Okay, so that's the definition. Name refer to this. Regarding the other parameters, which are the ID site, I have not tested it yet, but I think that it refers to this part. The auto archive relate to this part, which means that actually the your browser is gonna, let's say, process the report in real time, and you have also the possibility to ask it to make it to let's say, to wait a little bit in order to load the data. Okay, and you have as well the possibility to make it viewable only for you. The parameters which are expected here are either nothing or either 1 in order to say all user, and that's all. Actually, that's all what you need to know. So in my case, the ingredients that I will need is, out of this report, which is made of 400 URL, I just would like to pick up like 30 of those, right? So what I did is I just export this list of URL by clicking over here and asking for a CSV file. So this is what I did here. And let's say, imagine that I would like to pick up those. Okay, those set of URL, right? So you can imagine that I'm not going to do everything by hand. So in order to do so, I'm just going to copy and paste all my URL here. I probably is going to use, going to use this one. Okay, so here I have all the URL that I would like to include within my segment. Those URL expect to have actually a domain name before, so my domain name is going to be where it is. Okay, page URL. It's okay. It expect to have example.org category and something before. Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna go over here and I'm just gonna pick up. So yeah, they all expect to have this before, right? The domain name. So what I will do, and I will use regex for that. I will just say, okay, for this list of all URL, I just want to add the domain name before. So I'm just gonna do this. Okay, great. So now I have the list of all my URL. And in order to know how can I structure my request, so that's the module explained, but in order to know how you need to build up your request, you will need to know how which operator you need to use. So in my case, I know that I will need to say, okay, the segment has to take for value page URL equals, and I will have as well to use the OR operator. So I'm going to get a URL which look like a bit like this one with many times a comma between the different URL that I would like to add. So let's go for it. So in any cases, I expect to have a request where I have before this page URL things and an equal equal. Okay, so let's do this. So here I am on the API reference of the segment. So in my case, I need to pick up custom segment. So it's a page URL. So let's find it. To page URL actions. Yes. Okay, I'm a bit lost here, so I'm just gonna page URL. Okay, here I am. So yeah, it's interesting because they are telling us, okay, you need to encode all your URLs. So what I'm gonna do first in my in my file up here, I'm gonna encode all those URLs. So in order to do so, you have services online. So this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna encode. Yep. So I guess I need to refresh the page. Start over. Okay. Okay, so now I get my list. Fully cleaned. Not really. Okay, so this is not something that I would have imagined, but if we go back up here, okay, it's gonna be a bit tricky. So I'm just gonna use another URL encoder because this one's a pain. So just gonna maybe use this one. Yep. Okay, so what what I will do is I'm just going to try to make it simpler and just do it for 3 URL. Okay, like this. It will probably be easier to analyze. So sorry for taking it that long. Okay, so let's imagine that I have 30 URL, right? In my case, I'm just gonna have like 3 URL, but doesn't really matter. That's the same example. So before that, I need to send to add the parameters, which is the page URL, right? So it's gonna be equal page URL. So in any cases, when I will structure, I need to have before my value. So here it's all my encoded URL equal and the parameters. So what I can do here is so it's my everything which starts with something. So this is my special character, and then I can do something like this, right? Okay, so here it goes, and then I just need to have a comma at the end. So that's what I'm gonna do with dollar and comma. So that's what I did, and now I need to change, let's say, this part. So I'm gonna just say, hey, every time that you see that, just go like, oh, okay, did not work, kind of strange. Do it anyway. Okay, so here I have my, let's say, my list of conditions, my definition. So I'm gonna go over here and just gonna delete all those, and I'm almost close. So once you have actually your definition, you need to send a request. So in my case, I'm going to use curl in order to do that, in order to send some data. The module API, the method that I'm going to use, which is the one that we saw before, the segment editor had. I'm going to give a name. So I'm just going to say live example of groups URL. Okay. So the definition, this is what it expects to find. So just gonna remove all these parts out. I'm gonna take this one that I'm gonna add within the definition. So everything should be correct. ID site, so it's gonna send the data to the ID site number 1. Auto archive, I'm gonna say, I could leave this empty. I'm just gonna put 1, and here as well I'm gonna put 1. I need to add as well my token. So the token, you can find it when you click here on admin and when you go at the user level. So when you go up here, you will find your token. Down below here. Okay. So here I have my request, which is all made, and then the instance of your Matomo. Okay, so now normally if I execute this request, I should see a segment which is named live example of group URL. The definition should contain 3 distinct URL, and I should see as well. So it's within the ID site number 1 with auto archive enabled and accessible to all users, not only myself. So let's go for it. So we're going to copy this URL and we are going to execute it through my server. So here I am. I'm just going to execute it. Here it said that actually it went fine. So if I go now back within my Matomo, I should see this new segment created. So in my case, I was working with data which were on the 7th of December. Good. Okay, so on the 7th of December, if I look at page URL, I should see my 3, 8, and 7 entry. And if I'm lucky enough, normally if I click here, I get my segment, my new segment, which was named live example of group URL. If I look at it, I can see that yes, it has been created. So I can already apply it. So if I just go over here and that I picked it up, it's so it's not gonna work. I have no idea why. So let's dig it a little bit. So is it the URL in itself? Uh, so it looks good. I just need to, let's say, probably uncheck this part and see if this URL was on the page. So yes, it was. Oh, okay. As you can see, I don't know, but for some reason it's mywebsite.com and not example.org. So that's where the mistakes is happening. So I'm just gonna make tiny change here. So instead of example.org, it's gonna be mywebsite.com. Okay, and I'm just gonna give it another name then, live example, and we're just gonna name it like v2. Yep. So let's try it on. So I should just refresh my page. So it was live example v2 and live example v2. And I got my three URLs, so it works fine. So yeah, as you can imagine, you can really create your full segment composed of many different URL and can somehow get the same features. It's not exactly the same feature, but just for the, let's say, adding multiple or statement, you can easily do it with Matomo, with the API. Thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoyed actually this video. Thank you.